Krishna, I'll start with the prayers. Om Agyanti Marandasya Gyananja Shalakya Chakshurmilim Yen Tasme Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapin Yen Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Maha Tadadi Sampantantikam Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिना इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देव गौर वाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश धारणे वांछा कल्पतरुवश्य कृपा सुंदे एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगपते गोपेश गोपिता कांतम राजा कांत नमो नमे नमो नमो नमस्तु तत्कानि गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for the opportunity and service to talk about a Vaishnava is friendly. I must confess that I have no capability to talk about this topic. I do not have deep knowledge of Shastras or remember verses. At times, I find myself aloof, which can be perceived as unfriendly. So if I say anything good, it's all because I literally took words spoken by the devotees, acharyas, and what Mahapurushas have practiced. I ask for forgiveness if I say anything that is inaccurate and totally off my obeisances to Sri Krishna, Radharani, all Vaishnavas, Gurus, Acharyas, and we're talking about 26 qualities of Vaishnava. This is 23rd quality. The topic is Vaishnava friendly? A Vaishnava is friendly. As all of our Shastras start with a question, let me ask a question. What is friendship? That's a question to all of you. It's a blank slide. So what do you think? What is friendship? I open the floor for feedback.
Well-wishing, like a well-wishing attitude towards someone is friendship. Hare Krishna. Was I audible?
Yes, yeah. Well-wishing towards another devotee or another person, and that's wonderful. Any other feedback from other devotees? Okay, so if not, I'll. This is what I got from the literature here. The emotions or conduct of friends, the state of being friends, old ties of love and friendship. This is an ideal group for finding support and friendship. That's one way of looking at friendship. A person with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically one exclusive of intimate or family relationships. Another one is a person who supports a cause, organization, or country by giving financial or other help. A person who is not an enemy or opponent, an ally. So that's a dictionary definitions of friendship. So various definitions of friendship, but some of those sound more like a trait to me. I help you and you help me, which is okay, but it can be a fragile relationship, not a deep one based on values. So another kind of friendship we all see on a material plane is that we see is during friends party, have a glass of wine, dance or on Bollywood song, gossip, discuss stock market, food and appliances, etc. And saying we have good friends, we had a good time, we are close friends. Is that really a friendship for our Vaishnava values? Now the question is Vaishnava friendly? Let's see how Vaishnava sees friendship. So are Vaishnava friendly? In the Vaishnava tradition, friendliness is not just a social nicety, it's a spiritual quality, Maitri, and core expression of devotion. Bhakti, a true Vaishnava is described as Suhridaya Sarvadehinam, the best friend of all living entities, meaning they are universally friendly, compassionate, and willing to serve everyone. So this definition is quite different than the previous one. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I'm in Char and Achar, I'm in everything. So Vaishnava is kind and friendly, not only to human beings, but to all living beings, animals, birds, insects, and plants, and with underlying theme of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, when the whole world is a family, then the whole cosmos is a friend, no one is a foe. So recently, I listened to a podcast actually yesterday between Amrinder Prabhu and Gauranga Darshan Das Prabhu. Amrinder Prabhu asked question to Gauranga Das Prabhu saying about Vaishnava relationships. And he answered beautifully saying that Gyanis ignore others while reaching to Krishna, but devotees reach out to devotees and other Vaishnavas while reaching Krishna. This was beautiful and amazing for me, which signifies that friendship is a core component of Vaishnava relationships. With this in mind, what is the spiritual foundation of friendship? So it explains that. Sorry, I'm covering some of it. Spiritual foundation of friendship. So Vaishnava are taught or are educated to taught to see no enemies, to treat everyone with genuine warmth, and to act as a bridge for others to connect with the divine. So it's very different. So it's the friendship between Vaishnava as to connect with the divine. This friendliness is rooted in the belief that all living beings are part of the same spiritual family, coming from the same source, and that by showing kindness, one helps others move closer to Krishna. So very different than the friendship that we see in the material world. Anything and every activity that brings us closer to Krishna is rooted in that principle, and friendship is rooted in that principle. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur emphasized that kindness, friendliness, forgiveness, and charity are all included in bhakti, the very essence of devotion. So very different. Now here's the very different definition of friendship. Friendship is devotion, service, and kindness towards all beings, all activities that uplift, elevate the soul, and brings closer to Krishna is friendship. And then how the friendship is practiced. This is the definition for Vaishnavas, friendship. But how is it practiced? So I noted a few things, that there are four classifications that how it can be practiced: universal respect, compassion and service, humility and tolerance, dialogue and understanding. So Vaishnava are instructed by acharyas and gurus to offer respect to everyone, regardless of background, caste, creed, gender, or even species, animals and insects, without expecting personal order. This is certainly a tall order. In practice, in this material life, with complex situations that we face every single day, it's sometimes challenging to abide by this quality. But for pure devotees, it's their second nature. Listening to Radhanath Swami Maharaj for a few YouTubes that I have listened to him and other acharyas, I certainly believe that this is possible with the practice, with the listening to, with the sadhu sangha. So this tall order is not unachievable. So practicing compassion and service, Vaishnavas feel the suffering of others deeply and act to relieve it, whether through material help, food, shelter, medicine, etc., or spiritual guidance. Again, it needs a kind heart full of devotion to show compassion and feel suffering of others. I witnessed this firsthand, actually, me myself last year when I was in New York with my family for my daughter's. She participated in the marathon. In New York, and me and my husband also visited ISKCON temple there. And unfortunately, the temple was closed. But one devotee, when we rang the bell on the door, one devotee came running literally to open the main door. He was huffing and puffing, and my husband asked him, "Why are you running, Babu Prabhu?" He said, "I didn't want you to wait, and I wanted you to serve you as fast as possible." So I was totally speechless with his sense of service, and that is an act of friendship with kindness. So it's my experience at the ISKCON temple at New York last year. So humility and tolerance, when we talk about that, Vaishnavas remain humble, tolerant, and free from ego, which allows them to be approachable and welcoming to all individuals, all living beings. Through dialogue and understanding in interfaith and intercommunity settings, Vaishnavas engage in respectful dialogue, seeking to understand others' perspectives while staying grounded in their own faith. In the name of being friendly, Vaishnavas do not lose faith in Krishna and just to try to fit in with others. We respect Vaishnavas, respect others, other faiths, other people who are not in line with our principles, but we don't lose faith in Krishna. We practice our Krishna consciousness. Sorry, I put it back here. So I okay. Let's see. Okay, why it matters? Why these values matter to Vaishnavas? It matters because friendliness is a dharma for Vaishnavas, is part of the core value, a daily practice. In Vaishnava community, friendship is used to bring all beings back to Krishna, very high order of friendship indeed. Okay. Jagannath Prabhu asked me to pick one character from Bhagavatam to discuss. My apologies that I felt compelled to pick few more examples that are very dear to my heart, and those are friendship between Krishna and Sudama, Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna and Uddhava. Whenever I listen to these stories, I get emotional and in tears, but I try not to. Try not. And so going back to why it matters, so friendliness is Vaishnava. It's not just about politeness. It's a spiritual law. It's a dharma that fosters harmony in society within the community. It reflects the qualities of Krishna himself, who is described as being sold by his devotees, who are worshipable by everyone, including the Lord. So yes, Vaishnava are considered friendly, not just the social sense, but as a sacred duty and a hallmark of the devotion. And Vaishnava's friendliness is an act of love, compassion, and service aimed at helping all beings return to Godhead. So any activity, any action that the Vaishnavas do in friendliness and kindness and devotion brings back to return to God. It leads to return to Godhead. Okay. So now the examples that I took for friendliness in friends are first one I'll say so Krishna and Sudama, the story of Krishna and Sudama, how Krishna uplifts his friends and Krishna uplifts Sudama in friendship. So Krishna and Sudama is one of the most celebrated in Bhagavatam and our Hindu Sanatana tradition, symbolizing unconditional friendship, humility, and divine compassion. Krishna, the prince of the Yadavas, and Sudama, a humble Brahmin, were inseparable friends from childhood. They studied together under Guru Sandipani, shared meals, and supported each other through hardships, even surviving a storm together in the forest. Despite their very different backgrounds, Krishna from a royal family and Sudama from a poor family, their friendship was pure, rooted in love, respect, and spiritual values. After completing their studies, Krishna became the king of Dwarika, while Sudama lived a very simple, austere life, often going without food and wearing worn out clothes. He remained devoted to his spiritual path, never seeking material gain and never asking Krishna for help, even when his family suffered. So when Sudama's wife, Sushila, urged him to visit Krishna for his children's sake, he agreed, not for wealth, but to see his friend again, with nothing but a handful of poha rice tied in torn cloth. And he set out on the long journey. Upon arrival, Krishna recognized Sudama instantly and ran to meet him. Hugging him and treating him as the most important guest, he washed Sudama's feet, welcomed him to his throne, and ate poha rice with delight, saying it tasted sweeter than any royal feast because it was offered with pure love. Krishna's actions showed that true friendship is not transactional. He valued Sudama's presence and devotion above all. So when Sudama left, he was so happy just being with Krishna that he forgot to ask even for help, that his wife had asked him to go there to ask for help. So on his return, he found his village transformed, his hut replaced by a mansion filled with food, clothes, and jewels, and all kind of valuables. This was Krishna's divine blessing, providing that a friend of the divine is never forgotten. So Krishna and Sudama's friendship teaches us that friendship transcends status and wealth. Krishna and Sudama's bond was based on sincerity, not material exchange. So Krishna rewarded Sudama's humility, simplicity, and devotion that led to divine grace. So divine friendship uplifts the soul. It's not a time pass, just what we see in the material life. Krishna's compassion transforms Sudama's life beyond imagination, beyond measure. Krishna uplifted Sudama by valuing him as a friend first, offering him dignity and blessing him with the material and spiritual prosperity, all rooted in the purity of their bond. So in Vaishnava's friendship looks something like this. How Krishna uplifts Arjuna in friendship, we all know as well. In the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's friendship with Arjuna is a model of sacred companionship that transforms challenges and elevates the soul. Their bond is rooted in Sankhya Bhav, the mood of sacred friendship, where love, trust, mutual respect guide their relationship. So Krishna's counsel is never flattery. It is clear, compassionate, and aimed at Arjuna's highest good. When Arjuna is paralyzed by moral doubt on the battlefield, Krishna does not offer empty reassurance but presents him with profound questions about duty, life, and the self. This truth and empathy sharpened Arjuna's viveka and deepened his shraddha for Krishna. Krishna challenged Arjuna to confront his fears and conditioned responses, so pushing him beyond his comfort zones. This was not meant to belittle him, but to awaken and steady his mind for dharmic action. In the Gita, he frames dharma, the duty, as the path to liberation, aligning Arjuna's actions with the highest good. So Krishna's friendship is always oriented towards ethical action that befits both the individual and the society for universal good. He encouraged karma yoga, selfless action, so Arjuna can act without attachment to results, cultivating inner steadiness and resilience. So as a Parthasarathy, he was charioteer. So Krishna embodied participatory and protective relationship. He guided Arjuna not to control him, but to help him fulfill his duty with courage and clarity. So this mirrors the bhakti ideal. Krishna is Arjuna's friend, and Arjuna is Krishna's devoted friend and the devotee. And their relationship is reciprocal and grounded in love. So Krishna's role here was to confront Arjuna with the difficult truths when necessary. So this confrontation helped Arjuna rise, expand his consciousness, and deepen his commitment to dharma. So in essence, Krishna uplifted Arjuna by being a compassionate yet exacting guide, friend who challenges, inspires, and aligns him with dharma. Their friendship is a living example of how wise companionship can transform a seeker's life, steadying the mind, sharpening insight, and leading towards listening spiritual growth. Last but not least, how Krishna uplifts Uddhava in friendship. So Uddhava's story I've heard few times actually on YouTube. Whenever I listen to that, it makes me cry. It's so emotional. So Krishna's friendship with Uddhava is a true model of how a true spiritual friend uplifts another through devotion, trust, and personal guidance. So Uddhava, one of the Krishna's closest companion, I think he was his cousin as well, and most intelligent devotees, was deeply loyal, wise, and spiritually advanced. So Krishna recognized his sincerity and entrusted him with important missions. So most popular mission that Krishna entrusted him was sending him to Vrindavan to witness the gopis' pure love for him. When Uddhava arrived in Vrindavan, he was struck by the depth of the gopis' surrender, which went beyond intellect understanding to pure Braj Prema. This experience humbled him and transformed his perspective, showing that True bhakti is not just knowledge, but complete surrender. Krishna's friendship uplifted Uddhava by exposing him to higher levels of devotion beyond his own understanding through knowledge only. So Uddhava was a jnani. He did not, in the beginning, believe in surrender and bhakti, but when he went to Vrindavan, he saw that surrender in gopis and was impressed. And when he came back, he was thoroughly drenched in pure devotion and pure love for Krishna. And then later, before Krishna's departure, he gave Uddhava the Uddhava Gita, a profound discourse on renunciation, detachment, and higher spiritual truths. This act of teaching was not just intellectual instruction, but a spiritual empowerment. Krishna became both friend and a guru, guiding Uddhava to live by the principles he had learned. Their bond blended intimacy and instruction, just like with Arjun, with Krishna responding to Uddhava's questions with openness and wisdom. So Krishna also uplifted Uddhava by modeling the ideal of a friend, loyal, supportive, and ready to share his own life's mission. Uddhava's loyalty was so great that he never asked for a personal boon, choosing instead to serve and learn. And Krishna's friendship inspired Uddhava to deepen his devotion, seek understanding, and ultimately live a life of surrender and service. So, in essence, Krishna uplifted Uddhava by sharing his presence and mission through personal association and various missions, teaching and empowering empowering him with the Uddhava Gita and spiritual wisdom, so modeling unconditional loyalty and devotion as a friend. So transforming Uddhava's heart through experience of pure love and surrender. This friendship exemplifies how a true friend, especially in the spiritual sense, can elevate another to higher levels of devotion and understanding. So I have a question to our devotees. That anyone would like to share personal story of friendship who spiritually uplifted you other than your Guru Maharaj, of course. And I'll pause and ask for your experience. Anyone would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I can share. So
Mhm.
this it's there with every Life of Devotion group member. But then one member that I miss these days is Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu. We would often discuss spiritual points, and if we would hear or read something, we would discuss with each other, share with each other. So a lot of insights came out of such discussions, and I really felt uplifted. So yeah.
Thank you, bro. Anyone else would like to share your experience that a friend or someone you are friendly with uplifted you spiritually? Okay. Okay, if not, then I have one example. It would be unfair if I didn't mention that today. I'm taking this liberty. Krishna Prabhu. Krishna Prabhu, as you know, we live in the same neighborhood. We are family friends, and Krishna is also my dharam bhai. And so during the COVID time, three of us, Krishnan's wife, who is also my dear friend, three of us formed a WhatsApp group called, Walking Satsang. So I didn't know nothing about Bhagavatam at that time much. I have listened to very superficial level, didn't know a lot of it. So during our walks every day, COVID and Krishnan Prabhu started talking about Bhagavatam, how the Bhagavatam was started, how Parikshit Maharaj got cursed, and how all the rishis gathered at Nirmamasham and said this. Sukadev Swami Maharaj, said the story, and after for 7 days, so all of that, and that's how it started. I got into bhakti through Krishna Prabhu. And so I had to say that. And my bhakti was at a very superficial level 5 years, 6 before COVID. Even now it's superficial, actually, not progress as much as I would like to do. But I got more interested in bhakti. I more got interested in Krishna consciousness, I started doing sadhu sangha a little bit and going to satsangs from ISKCON temples and people's homes. So it gave me a little bit more understanding what Krishna consciousness and the bhakti. So thank you, Krishna Prabhu, for bringing me to path. And I also want to say that he has played a little bit. Another incident that when my daughter got married and during COVID, I was in my family room because not more than 10 people were allowed at one place. So it was only Krishna Prabhu and Satya, his wife, he came to our place. And there's a ritual that is done that only bride's mother's brother can do. And my brothers couldn't come, so I said, Krishna Prabhu, you are brother today. He said, why today? I can be your brother forever. I said, see, it's a big commitment. Yes, I'm very glad to do that. So I have to say that he has played that role very well by exposing me to Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. So that's my emotional story. Thank you for listening to that. So I also chose a character from Bhagavatam to go into a little bit deeper. Maharaja Parikshit. There are many examples in Bhagavatam who are very friendly, but I chose Maharaja Parikshit. Parikshit Maharaj was grandson of Pandava Arjun, who received age of Kali. He punished and rewarded Kali. He gets cursed by the Brahmina boy and meets Shukadeva Swami and listens to Bhagavatam from him in 7 days. We'll talk about 4 incidents in a little bit more detail, one by one. Parikshit Maharaj received the age of Kali. Is an important core character of Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj's life story shows his friendly behavior not only for human beings but animals, birds, nature, even those who cursed him. So in Canto 1, chapter 16, text 4 to 33 of Srimad Bhagavatam, describe the beginning of King Parikshit's encounter with Kali Yuga, and the decline of religious principles after Lord Krishna's departure, and the lamentation of Mother Earth, and how he confronts Kali. While touring and conquering the world, Maharaja Parikshit sees the personification of Kali Yuga disguised as a king and cruelly beating a cow and a bull. And he immediately moves to punish Kali and protect Dharma and the righteousness. Sutta Goswami explains in Bhagavatam that Parikshit Maharaj was vigilant because the influence of Kali had started entering his kingdom. He set out with his army and conquered all religions of the earth. So during his travels, Parikshit Maharaj repeatedly hears about the devotion of his ancestors, the Pandavas, Lord Krishna's wonderful pastimes, his own miraculous protection in the womb from Ashwathama's Brahmastra weapon. And he's especially moved by hearing how the Supreme Lord humbly served the Pandavas as a charioteer, messenger, friend, and a servant. And so these accounts deepened Parikshit Maharaj's devotion to Krishna. He also saw during his travel appearance of Dharma as a bull with only one remaining leg, symbolizing the decline of religion. So Mother Earth appears as a sorrowful cow. Dharma asks why she's grieving. He lists many possible causes. Loss of religious principles, violence towards animals, failure of sacrifices, famine, suffering, corrupt leaders, misuse of learning, and degradation of Brahminical culture. So social and moral disorder caused by Kali Yuga, and more importantly, separation from Lord Krishna, led to this decline. So Mother Earth explains that previously Dharma stood firmly on 4 legs, supported by the Lord's mercy. She then glorifies Lord Krishna, describing him as the word of countless divine qualities, including truthfulness, purity, compassion, self control, wisdom, leadership, beauty, joyfulness, eternity, and many other transcendental virtues. Because Krishna has concluded his earthly pastimes, Kali Yuga has gained influence, and therefore she mourns. So Mother Earth recalls her extraordinary fortune when Krishna walked upon her surface. Earth was beautified by the sacred marks of Krishna's feet and became more glorious than all the planetary systems. So, despite receiving much mercy, she now laments because the Lord was departed from the world. To contrast the spiritual prosperity and existed during Lord Krishna's presence with the moral and religious decline brought by Kali Yuga after his departure. So King Parikshit emerges as the ideal ruler who protects dharma, while Mother Earth mourns the loss of the Lord's direct presence and the spread of irreligion. So this was how Maharaja Parikshit received the age of Kali, and then he gets punishment and reward of Kali. He punishes the Kali and also at the same time rewards the Kali as well. It describes how King Parikshit encounters the forces of irreligion entering the world after Lord Krishna's departure and takes action to protect dharma. The king Parikshit finds a bull and a cow being beaten by a Shudra, low-born man disguised as a king. So the bull represents dharma, religion, as is standing on only one leg, symbolizing that three of the religious four pillars have been lost. The cow represents Mother Earth, who is sorrowful because Krishna has departed and unworthy rulers have begun to dominate the society. So Parikshit condemns the attacker and vows to protect the innocent, emphasizing that the king's primary duty is to safeguard the weak and punish wrongdoers. So when questioned, Bull, the Dharma, refuses to directly blame anyone for his suffering. He explains that suffering is because of various causes, not because of anything. One's own actions, karmas, own karmas, divine influence, nature, fate, or causes beyond ordinary understanding. So he doesn't blame anybody. So Parikshit Maharaj recognizes the bull as the personification of religion because of his impartial and truthful attitude. He doesn't blame anybody for that. He's just being neutral. So Parikshit Maharaj explains that in the Satya Yuga, religion stood on four legs: austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Due to the influence of irreligion, adharma, the first three have been weakened, leaving only truthfulness standing. Kali, the spirit of the age of the world, seeks to destroy even this final pillar. Parikshit identifies the attacker as Kali, the personification of the current age. He prepares to kill Kali, but Kali surrenders. So, as a righteous and friendly king, Parikshit Maharaj spares him because it's improper to kill someone who has genuinely surrendered. Since Kali cannot remain where the dharma prevails, Parikshit Maharaj permits him to reside only in places associated with irreligion, gambling, intoxication, illicit relationships, and animal slaughter. So later, Kali requests another place, and Parikshit Maharaj adds gold. Gold, because gold often fosters falsehood, greed, lust, envy, intoxication, and enmity. So Parikshit Maharaj restores the lost strength of the dharma and improves conditions on earth. This teaches that religious leadership requires protecting the innocent and restraining destructive influences. It wants that association with gambling, intoxication, illicit relationships, violence, and greed strengthens Kali's influence despite the inevitability of Kali Yuga. So dharma can be preserved through truthfulness, moral conduct, and adherence to spiritual principles. Okay, and then Parikshit Maharaj gets cursed by a Brahmana boy. As long as Parikshit Maharaj ruled, Kali, irreligious could not flourish. The adharma could not flourish. So Kali entered the world immediately after Krishna's departure. Parikshit Maharaj understood both dangers and nature of Kali Yuga, recognizing that spiritual acts quickly bear fruits, while sinful intentions usually require actual execution before producing reactions. He protected ordinary people from Kali's influence while remaining personally unaffected. So one day, while hunting, Parikshit Maharaj became exhausted, thirsty, and hungry, and arrived at the hermitage of Shamika Rishi. So Shamika Rishi was absorbed in deep meditation and did not respond to the king's request for water. So, feeling neglected, Parikshit Maharaj acted impulsively and placed a dead snake around the sage's neck before leaving. So, later, the sage's son, Shringi Rishi, heard of the incident and, angered by the perceived insult to his father, he cursed Parikshit Maharaj to die within 7 days from a bite of his snake, Takshak Nag. So, when Shamika Rishi learned what had happened, he condemned his son's actions. He even scolded him, said that he has done not the right thing. Parikshit Maharaj was a dharmic king, and he should have not done that. He considered Parikshit's offense minor and curse excessively harsh. The sage praised Parikshit as a righteous king and great devotee whose rule protected society. Then he warned that without dharmic kings, society would descend into lawlessness, theft, violence, moral decline, etc., and social disorder. And that Emperor Parikshit Maharaj was a highly virtuous and devoted ruler. Parikshit Maharaj, after knowing the news of his curse, he didn't angry. He didn't get angry at the Shringi Rishi. Instead, he welcomes him, treats him with utmost respect, and calls Sabha of all accomplished and enlightened rishis, and asks what the one should do who will die in 7 days. Okay, the section highlights the power of devotion unto Krishna, the importance of saintly association and hearing spiritual teachings, and the consequences of anger and rash judgment illustrated through the curse placed upon the righteous king Parikshit. Okay. So then appearance of Shukdeva Goswami after Parikshit Maharaj gets cursed. So after placing that dead snake on the shoulder of the sage Shamika Rishi, King Parikshit deeply regrets his action. So he recognizes that he has neglected spiritual principles and considers himself responsible for the offense. When he learns that he has been cursed to die from a snake Takshak's bite, he accepts the curse as the Lord's mercy rather than a misfortune. So, seeing death as an opportunity for spiritual advancement, Parikshit Maharaj renounces his kingdom and hands authority to his son. He goes to the banks of the sacred river Ganga and vows to fast until death. He dedicated himself entirely to remembering and serving Lord Krishna, considering devotional service superior to all other paths of self-realization. Hearing of the king's decision, many exalted sages, saints from throughout the universe gathered at the Ganges, including the prominent sages Narada, Vyasadeva, Vishishta, Vishwamitra, Parashuras, Maitra, and many others. The sages praised Parikshit Maharaj's humility, detachment, and devotion. The king respectfully asked assembled sages to profound question. What is the duty of a person who is about to die? And what should such a person hear, chant, remember, worship, and avoid? So this question becomes the central theme of the Srimad Bhagavatam. At that moment, Shukdeva Goswami, the 16-year-old son of Vedavyasa, arrives. Though appearing as a wandering, detached youth with no concern for social status, his extraordinary spiritual presence immediately gets recognized by the Sabha, the assembled sages. So all rise to honor him. Parikshit Maharaj approached him with deep respect, offering his obeisances and politely inquiring for guidance on how to live a perfect life, especially for one facing death. So Parikshit Maharaj's attitude is marked by humility, politeness, and a sincere desire to learn. He acknowledges Shukdeva's sanctity, saying that simply remembering him makes their homes holy and that his presence destroys sins. His questions are not only for personal benefit, but also for the benefit of the others, showing a selfless and friendly disposition. Shukdeva prepares to answer, setting the stage for the teachings that follow in the Bhagavatam as repentance and humility. It's an acceptance of divine will. So detachment from worldly possessions, supremacy of devotion to Krishna, the importance of saintly association, inquiry into life's ultimate purpose and preparation for death. So Shukdeva Goswami himself, who is described as a as a intelligent, calm, and ready to answer any questions without hesitation. I could have chosen actually Shukdev Goswami also for his friendship. We know all about his friendly behavior and acceptance. His presence is so auspicious that it transforms the surroundings into a place of pilgrimage, and he is respected by all um, from sages to demigods. The Bhagavatam teaches that the best people are those who magnify the good qualities of others and foster friendship with those of equal virtue without envy. So, this principle is reflected in Parikshit Maharaj's respectful and open minded approach to Shukdeva and Shukdeva's own conduct, which is marked by kindness. So, in essence, Parikshit Maharaj's respectful inquiry and Shukdeva's patience, generous response, and together exemplifies the friendly personality described in the Bhagavatam, one who is humble, appreciative, and eager to serve and learn from others. So that was my last verse about friendship for the topic. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Radhe. I open the floor for any comment, feedback, and hear more from other devotees about this topic.
Thank you, Mataji. It was very nice. A lot of information and very heartfelt with all the questions for the audience as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Suman, Mataji, for this beautiful thing. And thank you for mentioning about me. It is my good fortune that I got, that I got to, we got to go on these walks. COVID was a very special time. So, it's not that I would just hear classes and I would, I needed somebody to share it with. So you and Satya were there, and then we would just chat. So thank you so much for mentioning. It was as special for me as it was for you.
It was. I got a lot of benefit from that. Actually, it's I'm here talking and listening and having sadhu sangha because of that. So thank you. It was my pleasure. I got a lot of benefit from this. I know we finished early.
I just have one question, Mataji. Thank you. Wonderful class. I like the three examples that you gave, Uddhava, Arjuna, and Sudama. And you mentioned that you always get tears when you hear their stories. So about Uddhava, what about that story made you get tears?
It was the part when he goes to Vrindavan and he's giving message of Krishna, that Krishna, did not come himself, but he sent a message. He said, don't lament. It's Gyan is everything. Be grounded in Gyan. So then they all, tell him, for us, Gyan is nothing. It's surrender, the love. He says, oh, this is, you should have a Gyan for the soul. You should, be, don't be attached to the external love. So that part, when they are so surrendered, they're so attached to Krishna, they ignore the Gyan part. They say, what is Gyan? We don't know what Gyan is. All we know is the pure love for Krishna. We know that he's everything for us. So that part, and the yoga that they talk about, that year when he goes there and asks where is Yashoda Maiya's home, and then all the gopis say that wherever you see a stream of water, and there's all tears of the Yashoda, you'll find it there in Nanda Bhavan. So all of that, when you listen, and it also depends on the Katha teller. In the YouTubes that I listen to, they are very expert Katha Vachak. And the way they tell you this, all of the story, I'm not a very good Katha storyteller. So the way they tell this story is this part, especially this part, makes me emotional, and always few tears come out, come down my cheeks. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I had a question, just more of a general question,
Mhm.
and anybody can chime in. So, I always hear this, and that whenever somebody takes up Krishna consciousness, um, they tend to give up on their previous friendships, and it happens either consciously or unconsciously, either because of because their likes and dislikes change,
Mhm.
um, and um, and the people that they hang out with changes. So there is a friend of mine who is in London and who took up Krishna consciousness, and he also told me the same thing, that it happened to him as well.
Mhm.
And I was wondering why it happens, and has anybody observed it, and why it happens? And that's the general question. And maybe someone, Mataji, you can take it, and then maybe if others have any thoughts on this.
I think a little bit happens. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. I think it happens to all of us to some extent. Some manage, better than others. So it's a difference in the values. I personally have felt that also, but I try to, not show up as much. But it's a difference in the values. Material value, just like I explained in the beginning, the party, the friendship, on the material plane is not grounded in devotion, not grounded in love for Krishna. There's no talk about Krishna. There's no talk about and the bhakti. It's a discussion about all material life. So when you go into Krishna consciousness, lot of deep discussion was material life. It doesn't fit with your personality. It doesn't fit with your thinking, thought process. So for that reason, you try to, you know, I would not say that disassociate, but that connection is not as strong with those friends as it was before when you are also on the same thought process. That's just my opinion. Okay. Others' feedbacks would be great to hear as well. Jagannath
Yes.
Prabhu, you have
So,
go ahead and Leela.
Hare Krishna. So I felt little unrelated to this. Like I still have those friendships. I did
Mhm.
not have many friendships like before Casey. I still had like a small group, and I continue to have those friends. So I did not quite felt related to it. Like those friends of mine, they are spiritually inclined. They are not into Casey, but they are spiritually inclined in their lives.
Mhm.
And they are nice people. So yeah, I still have those friendships. So I did not feel related to it. Did not feel it.
Good. Thank you for sharing, Maharaj. Jagannath Prabhu, you have any?
So what you said is very accurate. The value systems change when we come to Krishna consciousness.
Mhm.
What to say about friendship, even our value systems with our family members, they change.
Very true.
So, but also within that, we have to see that we are not, you know, in a sense of in a condescending manner that, this person, they are inferior, their consciousness is not that great, which may be true, but we need to, even if we start keeping distance with them, that needs to be more with a consciousness that, okay, they are what they are in their journey, and right now I'm not at a level where I can um, I can be with them and not let my consciousness get dragged down. So that is the reason I'll keep my distance and I'll pray that wherever they are at their journey, in their journey of spiritual life, they can get uplifted from that point on. And yeah, so the value systems definitely change. And then Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion, or I think Nectar of Instruction, I forget where, but among materialists, there are two types of materialists. One are those who are envious of Krishna. Those who are envious of Krishna, devotees stay away from them and pray from a distance for them. And the other category is those who are just ignorant. So for those who are just ignorant but open to spiritual life, they are innocent. For them, a devotee, a madhyamadikari will try to uplift them from wherever they are and try to, bring them to Krishna consciousness, share Bhagavatam with them one fine day, right? Something like that. So those two things are there. We have to make that. It's a judgment call to make, and we have to be attuned to our own Krishna consciousness to whatever level we can be before making that call. But definitely, giving that up is need not be done in terms of looking at them from a condescending manner. Oh, materialistic person, chi, karmi, not that kind of a thing. That is not a good attitude to have. That is a more or less a fault finding attitude. But yeah, yeah, they are at their journey. They are in their journey as well, and our words may or may not affect them, but their words definitely might affect us. Right? So if that is the case, then we need to stay away. So, but even then, again, in with a humble attitude, not with a condescending attitude towards them. I think that is important.
Thank you, Jagannath Prabhu.
For me personally, I have had so many friends. Um, I was a very social guy from since my childhood, and I've had a very thriving social, what do you call it? Social circle. And when I came to Krishna consciousness, I sort of stopped associating with those friends. And again, that was more in terms of I would never get time because I was just so busy doing this, doing that. So I would not get time. But whenever I would get time, I would talk to them, associate with them. They were shocked actually to see my transformation from the way I was to the way I became after becoming a devotee. So they would always be like shocked and surprised. They would ask me about bhakti and everything. And but one thing that I appreciate and I respect in them is that they always respected my path. They never tried to drag me down or anything. And then of course I try to share with them in whatever way I can, but then I saw that they had different priorities and it was not working out. So I do have an amicable relationship with them. Whenever they visit Jersey City or New York, I try to meet them if possible. But then it's not like I'll call and keep talking to them for an hour. That just doesn't happen, and I don't really feel the need for it. And not in terms of they are good for nothing, but in terms of okay, this is where my life is heading. I respect where their life is heading. So sure, like that.
Very nice. Thank you, Jagannath Prabhu. I mean, it's hard to explain also when you associate too much. Then there are questions. It's inner journey. It's a inner taste. It's hard to put it in words. Even if you try to explain, it will not be perceived that way. It's for them. It's abnormal. For them,
So I feel even if we tell, so see, when we share about our journey, there are again various responses that we might get. Some responses may be like, well, sure, this what you do seems weird, but I respect what you're doing, so that is okay. Go at it. Maybe one attitude. The other attitude, it could be like ridiculing, what the hell are you doing, and then the third attitude could be like, oh, really? You're following ISKCON? Don't you know ISKCON is ridden with so many controversies? This thing happened.
Yes.
So now, yeah, I mean, the first category where they are curious, I mean, they are not even curious, but they respect. They understand this is something weird, doesn't fit into their framework, but then they still like why I mentioned this example is because I played Mr. Reuben in a drama for the 60th anniversary of incorporation of ISKCON that we did in Bhakti Center. In that drama, I played this Mr. Reuben. So Mr. Reuben was subway ticket conductor, and he was like a friend of Prabhupada, sort of. So then one time, Prabhu, and this is a famous conversation that is often quoted. Prabhu, they are both are sitting on the bench, and Prabhupada says, "There is everything. There is temple. There are devotees. Everything is there." And then Mr. Reuben is confused. He says, "But um, um, where is all this? Like, I don't see anything." And then Prabhupada says, "Only time is separating," something like that. And then Prabhupada says that we came here, you know, my guru and I came with my something. Prabhupada, I forget the dialogue, but we came here. Then he asked, "But Swamiji, you said us, didn't you come alone over here?" Then Prabhupada says, "No, I'm always with my guru," something like that. And that time, Mr. Reuben, he's like, "Sure. I mean, this is weird. It's completely weird for him. What is this like?" He's saying us and he's saying everything is there, only time is separating. But then he respects Prabhupada, right? So like that, we'll find friends who don't understand what we are doing, but they'll respect. And then, of course, the fourth category, the best category is there that, they are really genuinely interested. They want to understand more. They want to, yeah, if they are spiritual credits are very matured and very paripakwa, they are just ready to take up bhakti. They'll see your example and then just take it up. So those such friends are very rare again. But if they are there, then that is great again. So four categories, really.
That's very true, actually, Jagannath Prabhu. Recently, I met a lady on Monday and Tuesday. There was an event at our place. I met her first time. Her child learns music here, so she was there. She saw pictures in my house, Radha Krishna, and also started asking questions. And she got interested in that. She said, "Oh, I would like to have a Bhagavad Gita in English. I want to teach my children." And I had 8-10 copies, and I gave 2 copies to her. So there are people who are genuinely, as you said, interested, and they want to know more about Krishna consciousness and Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So that's very true. Krishna Prabhu,
Yeah.
did you get your answers?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to add one more dimension to Jagannath Gopal Prabhu's answer. So I have a friend. I'll just call him KP, just in case he listens to this audio. It's very unlikely that he'll listen to it. So his close friend, entered the Swaminarayan, the community, and they were very close friends. They were tight, very, very close friends. And then they gradually drifted apart because, just like you said, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, that friend of KP's became very busy and he was constantly working at the temple, constantly doing, involved in some sadhana or something. And this KP was telling me that, of course, he said it, half jokingly or half, that he holds this grudge against that, uh, that society because it took away his friend from him. So just one more dimension to the whole thing. So because I was casually asking him, why did you not go and listen to some classes there? Your friend is there. So he had this, slight grudge against them. This was one. And then I wanted to share another example, which was, this friend of mine who's in London. He would tell me that his father would tell him that I lost my son to Krishna consciousness. And And of course, they all, they reconciled very, very nicely. But he said in the early days, this is what his dad would tell him. And gradually everything got reconciled. Because in the beginning, he was also very, very strict. This friend of mine was very, very strict. And I think he must have said something to his parents. So there's just wanted to share another dimension to the whole thing.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. It's irony that when the son does all kind of unprincipled things that we call it, like 4 principles that we abide by, they don't say anything. When you lose your son to Krishna, there's a big problem, right? And they're grudgeful about. I have faced some of it, but I'm a pretty strong-headed person, so but if I set my mind on something and I feel is right, I just keep going. So I've gone through some of it myself with family. So, but eventually, slowly, when you're persistent, things start changing. If Srila Prabhupada said, keep feeding prasadam. That prasadam helps. When you keep feeding prasadam in the morning, when you have charnamrit while doing your mantra job, and you give those that charnamrit to the family and friends when they come. I think slowly over the years, something changes. At least comes to ground zero from negative. So so it's irony of this material life, that if son is doing all kind of stuff that are harmful to them and family and the society, then it's okay. The son is mine. When son goes to Krishna consciousness, then I lost him. It's difficult to explain that also. Very difficult. At one point, you stop explaining. You just keep doing what you think is right. But again, eventually, things do get better. I think everybody goes through that. I have heard so many devotees on YouTube from ISKCON. They went through the whole same process. Parents, they stopped talking and they can, support. Eventually, they started supporting, and eventually they became also Krishna consciousness. So it takes time. I think Krishna also tests you, how persistent you are, how firm you are in your devotion. Right? Mirabai, what did she not face? Halahal wish or snakes around were sent to her, but she is so persistent. And then Krishna knows who she is, accepts her. So all devotees, I think, go through that. Bhakti is not easy. It's just not easy, but this is something that must be taken on, right? That's the purpose of life. So, I know many people leave you, many people will have hard feelings about you, but show must go on. Bhakti show must go on.
Okay.
Any other thoughts from other devotees? I can put people. I run teams. I can put sometimes people on spot, but I will avoid that. Gaurakumar Prabhu, any thoughts?
No, Mataji, I agree with what everybody said. Thank you.
Okay. So Jagannath Prabhu.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we'll call it a day today. And thank you again very much. So let's meet next Tuesday. Again, we will discuss the quality of poetic devotee being poetic. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हर ग्रेस सुमन माता जी की जय. हरि